Women leading the way.
Hey everyone, welcome to Women Leading the Way by Dropper.coms, a podcast about women shaping the future of finance, fintech, blockchain, and technology. Here we don't talk about titles or success stories, we talk about real moments that shape a career and how leadership changes when women are in the room. I'm Maria, and in each episode we explore one big idea through a personal journey. Today we are talking about crisis in finance in fintech and what it really takes to handle it when markets are unstable and trust is fragile. Because in this industry, crisis is never something rare, and the way you handle it can influence the reputation. So our guest is Alina, head of PR at Dropper.coms, a global leading communications agency working with finance, fintech, and blockchain. She manages strategic communications across markets and has seen firsthand what it means to handle when things don't go according to plan. So Alina, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on this episode today. We'll be happy to share my expertise and experience working with crisis communications and financial companies.
Personally, I gotta say that this episode feels really special to me because we work together in Dropper.coms and I see every day what kind of leader you are. I mean, probably you're the only person who can build a full firefighting plan during the night or driving your car. So I'm really happy we are doing this together today. And let's start with something quite real. How do you understand that this is the crisis? Is there the moment when you realize, oh my gosh, this is happening?
I guess it occurs mostly every day when I open my eyes and then check working chats or emails and see there around 100 plus messages, emails before the start of the working day. So that's quite difficult sometimes. But to tell the truth, each crisis has its own options and metrics which we can find and then understand that, oh my God, that's collapse already. What we should do. So the first point is that crisis always is related to the negative tone of publications and negative effect to your personal brand or brand of your company. The second point is not my favorite one, but it also takes its place. So when regulators or media outlets or every person already know about the crisis, so it usually occurs outside the company and it's very difficult already to manage, but it's still the one of the metric of crisis which we need to cope with in the next 24 hours itself. The next point is usually related to the number of mentions which you already can see in media outlets, social networks. Each hour you can check and find dozens of mentions of tweets, of publications from different media outlets, and you understand that's it. That's the key point with which I should work during the next 24 or 48 hours. So it also sometimes can be in a similar way. And the last but not least is also a very interesting point, which I noticed from my personal experience, is that founders of our client companies, they can somehow be another channel for crisis. For example, I had personal experience with one case recently that one of our CEO of DeFi protocol posted the X and then he didn't approve this one with us. And then I just opened my eyes at 5 a.m. in Europe, European time, and they just mentioned, we have the crisis collapse. I posted the liquidation word in my X and all media outlets use this quote that our platform has the liquidation. So that's it. I guess if we speak about what this point really means, it means that somehow companies, they are not prepared for the crisis. They think that it will just lead by its own way and they no need to have, for example, PR team or legal team who can support you during crisis. So that's the point.
Yeah, and I also think that sometimes we understand that the crisis is already happening just when we see it in the media. I mean, the period when we realize that this is going to happen is quite short. So yeah, it's kind of complicated.
Women leading the way.
If we go back a little bit to your personal experience, I mean, your journey at Dropper.coms is just incredible. You've grown up from being junior, now being a head of PR, it's like insane. So probably you've seen many things happening during your career. And do you remember your first crisis? What was your reaction to that?
I will always remember my crisis. I guess it was at the beginning of my work at Drofa.coms when I was aligned to the new DeFi protocol. It was one of my new clients. I wasn't the head of PR or the leader for this crisis communications direction in our agency. I was just a project manager for this client. And at that period of time, DeFi was something new for me. The key meaning of this word, which I was aware of during this period of time, was decentralized finance. And that's it.
I see.
I know nothing related to DeFi, liquidation mechanisms, how to protect users, how to, what is Viper, how to work with this. So nothing despite decentralized finance. And I worked with this project around 2-3 days. And then I have the plan to prepare the anti-crisis checklist for this company the same week.
Just in case.
Just in case, maybe. Why not? And then one morning, I just decided to check my email and my working chat before the working day. It was around 6 a.m. European time. So in America, it's still night. That's why, for example, a lot of different media outlets, they're still sleeping. And I checked the emails and checked working groups and noticed that there are around 500 plus messages in the chat just around during 2 hours of the discussion. And I saw a lot of different tags of my name in these chats. And at that period of time, I thought, that's interesting. Maybe there's something positive for me. My colleague just reached out to me an hour later and mentioned that, oops, we have a small problem and we need your help. But at that period of time, I have no experience working with crisis communications. And I think that the key issue when you can self-develop is just practice with your clients. And thank you, DeFi and financial sphere quite often can provide you with these opportunities. If we speak about this case more in details, so what was the point and the key issue? First point was that it was too early in the morning. That's why it was very difficult to reach out to the legal teams or to the founder of the company or any other team members of our clients. It's like the first point. The second issue was one of the most difficult to work with in the future because I checked the media outlets and all the mentions on the internet about this case. And I noticed that there were around 30 publications in Tier 1 and Tier 2 media outlets, global ones and crypto ones, related to this case. The reason of the case was the risk of liquidation of users' money from the DeFi protocol on the sum around $200 million. And that's why journalists and media outlets, they use this information in their titles and their articles, and we can see a lot of reprints afterwards. And the awful thing is that they used the incorrect information. So they didn't realize that they misunderstood the key point of this crisis. And it was another circumstances which we have to cope with during this period of time. The problem was that I had only one team member who can help me with this case. And I have had only 30 minutes to craft the strategy and craft the plan, what's going on. Still, you should still remember that I know about DeFi only decentralized finance. It's still the same point and the same day. So I have to cope with all my fears and craft the strategy, what we can do during this period of time and during this crisis, not to influence the reputation of our client, not to influence the reputation of our agency as we represent officially this company. So I tried to reach out to our clients and no one answered me because they were busy solving the key issue related to $200 million, not my questions about what's going on, what we should do. That's that, but still. Yes, and what we did during this period of time, we chose the great strategy how we can overcome this crisis. So we directly contacted all the media outlets which published these materials, it was for that moment around 67 already, not just 40.
Crazy.
Yeah. And we shared with them information that we represent this client. We can provide you with all official feedback and official announcements from the company. So we should be the final source who can check and who can provide the commentaries from our client. And it was a very crucial and important step, because afterwards it helps us to overcome and to orient around 70 publications related to negative tone, to neutral one, and positive ones, because around 50 media outlets, they got back to me and my team member and asked for official commentaries, and then they updated the article, included the necessary information in it, and we have no other issues and no other circumstances which developed the negative tone of voice of the company afterwards. So it was related to my first crisis, and I guess that the key lesson from that period of time that we need to definitely be well prepared beforehand and know more about DeFi before started working with the client.
Yeah, crazy. And anything you would do differently right now, for example?
At that period of time, I thought that, first of all, I should always remember that it's just my work and I should stay professional and I should help my client to overcome this situation. And the second point, as I already mentioned, just to deep dive into DeFi beforehand, not just the simple meaning of these words.
Yeah, this is the true professionalism, I guess. And a really crazy first experience check in
Women Leading the Way podcast.
Speaking of crisis, what do you think is more crucial, the first 30 minutes when it's happening or the crisis itself?
Definitely 30 minutes after it already happened, because, as I mentioned, you have dozens of different tasks which you should collect in one plan, in one strategy. So the first point is usually to analyze what's going on, what you should do with this. Then you should synchronize with your team, with the client team, and discuss and choose the necessary template. How will you react during this period of time? And before some crises which I already coped with, I even couldn't think that during 30 minutes of time, we can cope with so many different tasks related to crisis communications and so many different channels which can be used during this period of time. So definitely 30 minutes after it. And from my personal experience, sometimes we had crises which duration were around 24 until 72 hours. It was like the non-stop work when we contacted media outlets, social media networks. So everyone just to update them about the situation.
Yeah, super power activated.
Yeah, that's true.
So far, we've been talking about what happens when crisis hits, but what actually gets to that point? I mean, we all know that companies tend not to think about these kind of situations. I guess imagine everyone thinking, this is not going to happen to me. And I guess with the companies, the same thing. So why do they don't prepare for these situations?
I think that the first point is that our minds just function in such way. So we always try to avoid thinking about negative, about the situation which might occur or which might not occur according to our brand and our company. And also it differs from company to company. For example, some of them, they have the budget to work with anti-crisis big teams in PR and craft before the crisis and anti-crisis checklists or team or working groups related to anti-crisis also communications. Other companies, they don't have budget and they try not to think about all the situation, and they just usually use, for example, freelance services to help them to overcome this crisis. But the situations which is like the tendency and which I noticed in every company we worked with during, I guess, last 5 years. So all of them, they are afraid talking about crisis. They think that if they publish the official statement related to crisis, or they will share any details about the crisis, it will occur much more negative effect than before it. So they decided just to keep silent before the legal team will get back to them and apply and approve the key messages which they should publish in their social networks or on their official website. And that's the key mistake which they usually do, because during this period of time, you cannot control what's going on. So if you already know about crisis, or you already checked the media outlets and find out that Bloomberg already published the crisis post about your company, how can you stay silent during this period of time? Because every user, every person, they just check the official profiles of company in social networks, their founders, C-levels, their official website, and they try to find any answers on this question. And that's why they don't have these answers. They just point the facts which are marked in the articles which journalists prepare during this period of time. And they, as we discussed earlier, sometimes can misunderstood the information and then spread the information which is incorrect. And this information should have been updated by PR teams, such as ours. So that's the key point, because we also have series of cases when we react proactively, when we knew and we saw the first publication, for example, on Bloomberg or elsewhere, and we published the official statement from the founder in time. Really, it was a very valuable step from our side. And we also overcome this crisis without any negative mentions in the media outlets. Wow. So, for example, Bloomberg published the article. It was negative one, but it included the quotation from the founder, and then it became not negative, but neutral. And then we also suggest them, for example, the interview call with the founder, and then the article became positive. So that's it. You should stay calm, but not stay silent. Yeah. That's the key point.
Women leading the way.
So let's imagine that the worst case scenario is here. Everything is happening. In your experience, what can make things more complicated? Or even who? Perhaps the legal team, leadership, or maybe media outlets?
I guess that we have two weak points here. The first one is fear, which team members of the client usually have during this period of time, because they were not ready for this crisis. They were not prepared for this in advance, which we discussed at the start of the podcast. And the second point is usually related to the fact that teams are usually not on the same page. For example, legal team can know some insights and details about the case, and they decided not to move forward with this information, for example, related to PR team, which usually contacts all the media outlets, or legal team can share this information with the founder of the company. Founder is very busy solving this issue, so of course he wouldn't contact his PR manager and then write him the details, what's going on, how we can solve this issue, what the status, etc. So I guess that's the most important part.
Yeah, actually, I do remember that we had a case about a few years ago. It was like with the payment processor, I guess, and there was a crisis. But they had their internal PR team, and we had to communicate together to handle all the stuff together. But their team, they broke all the embargoes, and the things we could manage just in some hours were not handled so successfully, unfortunately. Yeah, so alignment between teams is very important.
Yeah, that's true. I have the recent successful case in terms of the synchronization of both teams. So our client's legal team, they contacted us before 2 hours of the crisis, and they mentioned that in the next 2 hours we can have the small crisis situation that they usually mention. So small issue, around 60 unique media publications in Bloomberg, Forbes, etc. Small issue. And they contacted us beforehand, and we had the brilliant and valuable time to prepare for this crisis, because it was related to VC court, and it was really, really important. So we prepared and published the official statement from the founder of the company, and also from the CEO of the company. And it also helped us not to have it also helped us to have 0 negative mentions in media outlets, because legal team, thank them so much. They decided to come to us at first, and only afterwards share this information with the founder of the company. And I would like to add small point here, that I think that PR teams and legal teams, we should have the mission to educate our founders, to educate our clients how they should react during the crisis, because we really know which narratives we should use, which key messages journalists would like to hear. So no one can help them despite us. So that's the key point.
Yeah, definitely. We should work together as one team, because we work in financial landscape and trust here is like a currency.
Yeah, that's true.
So coming back to more human side of things, it's interesting that crisis always tests your ability to think clearly in situations under the pressure. In your experience, is there any difference in how women and men operate during crisis?
I think that yes, because throughout my career, I faced a few cases related to the point which you mentioned. So it was related to my previous work. It was not in Drofa, it was in the event management agency. I was working as an event manager, and I was the project lead for the event, which should take place in around 2 days. And we spent around a month to organize the huge panel with 5 key top speakers from the market. And one day they decided, all of them, 5 of them, decided not to move forward with our panel and just to skip it because someone couldn't attend because of his timeline. The second one just decided to ignore our messages. So that's the point. And as a result, I have the case that we have 2 days before the event. It's the leading panel. I can say that this panel was related to the whole event, while people decided to go to attend this event. I had my previous boss, he was a man, and when he go to the office where we sit with our team, and he mentioned that he wouldn't deliver this task to update the situation to me because I'm a woman and I couldn't clearly understand what's going on, and I cannot be too emotional while solving this situation. And then he, when every team member sits in the room, he delivered this task to my male colleague. And he mentioned that he will be the best person who can overcome this crisis. But at that period of time, I thought, no, I will try to help. So I noticed that when my boss delivered this task to my male colleague, he didn't react proactively to this task. So he started to prioritize another tasks which he has. And it's awful because the event just in 2 days, and this is the key panel for this event. So we need to solve this issue quicker as much as possible. And I decided to solve the situation by myself, despite the direct tasks from my boss not to do so. So I helped my colleague and I overcome the situation. I invited new speakers to our panel. A few of them was even from more top companies than previous one. And I also talked to 2 speakers who decided not to move forward, to come back. And I asked them and pray to take part in our event. So they decided to take part, and all was good. So as a result, the event was success. So nobody noticed that something went wrong during this period of time. And then afterwards we have the meeting with our boss and our team members, and he entered the room and then mentioned that this situation shows him that he was true, that women couldn't cope with their emotional side, and they cannot do what male colleague them usually provide to do. So that was a really interesting point. But in that period of time, I answered him, yes, I am not a man, but I used man approach and to prove it with female touch. That's why we have the successful event. You should have seen his face. It was really interesting to notice.
You just nailed it.
Yeah, that's it.
With perfect nails.
Yes, but the key point here that I still believe that women can do everything they want if they will be confident in each other, in themselves, so they can overcome every difficulty and every crisis.
Absolutely. Personally, I haven't faced any similar situation, but I've been speaking with so many women for our project. I guess already more than 500 women took part in our Women Leading the Way. And I guess almost everyone had a similar situation at the beginning of their career, especially. And you know that finance is still perceived as male-dominated sphere, so a lot of them had some trouble centering the space, but look at them now. They're top leaders from big companies, very successful, and their stories, they remind me that women can do everything. So women leading the way, absolutely.
Women Leading the Way podcast.
Speaking about just confidence, I guess that it's very hard to maintain it during the crisis situations. So what are the top things you have to do to keep calm during these times?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always educate myself and our clients that no crisis is impossible to overcome. So we can help and overcome each crisis if we are well prepared, as discussed. So the first point which can help you personally is your team members. That's why it's crucial to create an anti-crisis working group, for example, where can be included 4 or 5 people. So it can be, for example, 2 PR managers, 1 legal team member, C-level, 1 representative from the company. It can be marketing director or C-level of the company. So someone who can do a public statement if we need so. So the second point, which can also help you to overcome this crisis and overcome stress, is to prepare in advance. So you can have the anti-crisis checklist where you can mark all the types of possible crises which can occur. You can include there some templates how we should react during this situation and that situation, which words or which narratives and key messages should founder say or should not say during this period of time. And also we can split and use each narrative to each channel. For example, for social media, it will be the one. For media outlets, it will be another one. And the third point is one of the most important, which I already briefly mentioned. So it's crucial to react in time on the crisis and not to stay silent. So you should proactively monitor, check what materials were already published, how we should react, what else we should do to overcome the situation. So your reaction, and it usually lasts almost the minimum period of time is 24 hours, because no matter which crisis is it, so it's crucial to monitor the situation in the first 24 hours. And after the crisis, the peak of the crisis usually step back. So you should focus on working with positive news after the crisis occur. For example, if your website got hacked, you can publish a series of materials about the security and trust. You can publish you can craft the trust fund where you will develop the new code for your website, or you will have the consultation with your users, how you can help them to support and to get their money back, for example, if the platform was hacked. So a lot of different variants how we can help companies and how you can be prepared also for them, but not to stay silent and always be clear and be clear and transparent with your audience, because we work with financial companies. Financial companies work with users' money, and it's very important for them to know that their money are safe and that their money is safe and that everything is okay even in different difficult situations. And also, despite the fact that I am a PR representative and I usually try not to work with social networks, it still should take its place. So don't forget to use your social networks and social networks of your client, because as I mentioned at the start of the podcast, we even cope with different crises related to the incorrect post in a social media network. And also these channels can be used to see what audience really think about this situation, because they can comment, repost the news, find the new links where they find the new information. So it's crucial channel to monitor while crisis. I would say that it should be the first priority. So to monitor social media and then to monitor media outlets, because they quite often, specifically in financial and DeFi spheres, they took information from X. So related to any crisis, not the official website of the company, not the official profile of the founder on LinkedIn, just from X.
Yeah, crypto community is crazy about X.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, let's do a quick fun segment called Traffic Light. We try to do with every guest in every episode. So the idea is quite simple. It's like driving. We associate driving with the life. Something you won't stop doing this year, like red light. Yellow light is keep going, and green light means start doing something. I'll ask you just 3 quick questions and you answer them without overthinking. Let's do it.
Overthinking is a bad tool working with crisis communications.
Green light. What's one thing you won't start doing this year?
I think that I should focus on my personal growth, release new pair cases, specifically not only in crisis fields, and maybe take new courses in DeFi still, why not?
Yeah, education and wow cases is something we really love.
Yeah.
So moving to yellow light, is there anything you want to just keep going this year?
I think that I will definitely say that I would like to continue attending leading events from our industry, because last year showed me the great experience networking with new people, finding the new insights about the market, about bear cases. I think that public relations and public communications are the key for your self-development. So it's quite close to the green light. And I'm really keen on attending these leading events from the industry.
Yeah, we had so many fun times.
Yeah. Specifically in autumn.
Yeah, especially for women leading the way. And moving to the red light, is there anything you want to stop doing this year?
Think that something is impossible, specifically for women.
Yeah, we tend to overthink a lot of things and just forget that nothing is impossible, especially crisis. Yeah, for the companies.
And overcoming this crisis.
So just to finish all these things, your number one piece of advice for the companies when it comes to handling the crisis?
Talk and be open with your audience. That's it.
Women leading the way.
So, Alina, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
This conversation was such a powerful reminder that in fintech and finance, where everything is built on trust, crisis is never just an external event, because it's always related to the reputation, and reputation in our industry is the most valuable asset. So, to everyone listening, if this episode resonates with you, please share it with the person who needs to hear it. For more stories and updates, visit womenled.co.uk and follow us on our LinkedIn page. This was Women Leading the Way by Dropa Combs. Thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode. And don't forget, women don't just follow the way, they lead it.
Women leading the way. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.